Hi there, Kate. How are you doing?
Hi, Megan. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm excited to chat about yoga and neurodivergence. Full disclosure, I am a neurodivergent person who hates yoga, so you'll have to convert me. Yeah.
This is what I love. And also, I acknowledge that yoga is not for everyone. And at the same time, sometimes people take one class and they're like, I hate yoga. And it's a broad, especially here in the US, like, or in the West, the way it has been taken and commodified and changed and adapted um and added goats and added, you know,
Yeah.
whatever, beer. Um, Yoga was more specific to the person at first and more adapted specifically to a person's needs. And now we've got 40 people in a hot room. It's it's not necessarily going to be for that is not going to be for everyone, but there's such a broad range. And I think it's so much about finding a teacher that you resonate with, and a style or pace that you resonate with. It could be so many things, especially for neurodivergent people that turn us off. I can't learn from certain great teachers because their voice just like makes my skin crawl.
Oh, that's relatable. Oh, yeah. Okay, well, with that in mind, like, tell us a little bit about you as a yoga teacher. Like, if someone's looking for an instructor who fits their style, like, what's your approach?
Well, I would first of all try a lot of different things. And I don't know what you tried as far as yoga. If you want to tell me, it could
Oh,
be.
sure. Yeah, mostly like at home videos and stuff. I think
Mhm.
I took one class in college and it was fine. I guess that's the vibe I have with yoga. I don't hate it. It's just fine.
Right. It's not
I
really.
personally find that my mind goes way too fast for yoga.
Mhm.
Yoga is very slow, which is, well, at least the yoga I've done. I know there's more intense yoga, which might be a better fit for me, but the yoga I've tried has been very meditative, very reflective, and I'm like, no, go, go,
Right.
go, go,
My
go, go,
mind
go.
doesn't, yeah, like my brain doesn't go at that pace. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So the yoga I started off with, which was Kundalini yoga, it was dynamic, but it was weird. And it's like I had to get my mind around that. But it had such an impact so fast on my nervous system that I stuck with it. I was like, this is incredible. And then now I don't teach Kundalini yoga anymore at all. I started teaching vinyasa in gyms when I like my trajectory is that I was living in Australia when I started being a yoga teacher, and I moved back to the US and I started teaching in gyms because those were the jobs I could get and I needed to make money. And vinyasa was, so I did a training in vinyasa, which is like a faster pace, like if you think of sun salutations, like inhale up, exhale down, one leg back, inhale. I don't know, just a lot of like one breath, one movement, and like so many people in the U.S. like it because it reminds them of exercise. They get the endorphins of exercise. They feel like they're moving every part of their body, which can feel really good. And they don't necessarily have to slow down their brains. Like the movement can help get to that point when you're tired at the end and you're lying there. Now, that's not the kind of yoga I teach now. I don't teach that so much anymore. My focus is more on gentle yoga, although teaching gentle yoga doesn't have to be super slow.
Okay.
I incorporate a lot of different things into my classes that I have found help my nervous system and help my students' nervous system. So I'm very focused on what is going to be nervous system regulating. And that doesn't mean that we get calm necessarily. It means that whatever our nervous system needs in the context is available, and we can be adapted to what is actually happening around us, and our nervous system can meet that context. Does that make sense?
I think so. I really
So
like
I
that
know I could go
explanation.
on so many tangents here, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's say somebody was feeling maybe very anxious, very maybe even panicky.
Mhm.
And they don't necessarily want to feel calm because that doesn't align with where their nervous system is at. So, like, it sounds like what you're saying is, okay, let's, instead of bringing the activation down to 0, let's just take it from 11 down to like 6, you know?
Or like if there's a reason to be in a flight state of your nervous system, there might actually be a current reason to be in a flight state. And then, yeah, I would say like respond to that. But if that
Ooh.
anxiety is not about a current state, then what could you do to get that energy out? And sometimes I'll just like, I'll shake or I'll jump up and down or I'll run in place or I'll move my arms as if I'm like going for a vigorous walk, just something that, and I already feel better because I was anxious coming on, but just doing that, um, it gets like grounds the energy in our present moment in our bodies. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it's stimming, right? Self-stimulatory behavior, and
Right, right.
all
Stimming is
humans do
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all humans need stims. I think there's this myth, and I do think it's a myth that like stims are supposed to be uncontrollable, that like only people who are autistic can stim,
Oh, we
or
all
all this stuff. But stimming is bouncing your knee in a boring meeting is stimming. Like you're keeping your brain stimulated in some way. And shaking, jumping, spinning, like these are all stims. And stims are often not always a choice, but they can be. They don't have to be involuntary, and it's okay to stim however you need. So I love the idea of yoga being like a stim for some people.
Yeah, and like bringing that in. Like when I look around at my students, and I mostly teach online now, but I can still see them. And when I look around at my students and everyone's doing something a little different that resonates with their body, that they feel settled into, I feel successful. I'm
Oh,
not one of those teachers who needs everyone to be cookie cutter, like in order for my nervous system to calm down. I'll take care of my nervous system and you take care of your nervous system. And that's how I know that I'm successful at giving you agency, giving you choice, giving you power, to understand what your body needs. So
I love
that's
that.
my like version of success in yoga, is helping people regulate their nervous system, match the context, and have agency in their body. And one of
This
the reasons
sounds, oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
it works really well, for neurodivergent people is because of the 80-20 rule. So if you think of your nervous system, only 20% of the information is flowing from your brain to your body, and 80% is going from our bodies to our brains. So that's like all that sensory information is feeding our brain, right? It's coming in through, like whatever it is that you're responding to in a sensory way. So I'm like a highly sensitive person, anxiety, probably ADHD, although I've never been diagnosed.
Mhm.
And I'm very attuned and sensitive to not just my environment, but like what's going on in my gut. Um, but like, yeah, definitely my environment. So
Yeah.
making sense of that input and then finding like when our nervous systems have more adaptability and more understanding of the context, like what they call neuroception, like kind of like mindfulness for the nervous system,
Mhm.
then I find when I'm more regulated, whether it's through yoga or something else, I find that I can take in and make sense of all that sensory information that's coming in without getting totally anxious.
Yeah. Okay. Question for you. Do you ever work with people, like especially neurodivergent people who like struggle with interoception? They aren't always super in touch with their bodies. And do you find that yoga is helpful for that? Or do you find it's disconcerting or both?
Yeah, I absolutely like I had a client find me for one-on-one and she wanted to work in person one-on-one because she had I forget it, like an apraxia kind of situation. So knowing where her body was in space, like proprioception, was difficult. Figuring out like if she went to a group yoga class and they said like raise your right hand, that was like just too much. So working with her one-on-one, I could put my hand like on the place between her shoulder blades, and she could move into that and then away from that to feel the difference. I could, I could mirror her, but also I could slow things down. Like for you, I wouldn't slow things down, but for her, we slowed things down to just the tiniest things. So what she found really incredible was lying on her belly with her arm out like this, turned either looking toward or looking away from her fingers, and then slowly moving one finger at a time, a quarter of an inch, and then letting it go. So the smallest, tiniest movements gave her so much information. It was so interesting to her. And she was like, wow, her mind was blown from these little tiny connections. And by building on those little tiny connections, then she can grow more of that interoception and proprioception. So
Yeah.
interoception, even lying on your belly, can give you more like awareness of what's happening in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and any of these things is like practicing gives us more awareness. So.
Okay, so speaking of practicing, as someone who suspects and has some ADHD traits and whatnot, how do you stay consistent with yoga
It's so hard.
when you're ADHD? What do you do? I mean, besides becoming a yoga teacher to force yourself to be consistent.
I mean, one of the reasons I started my membership was because I wanted that accountability. Like, I have to show up because I'm teaching it. And what I found with my students is they're paying for it, so they show up. And by, paying in advance and knowing it's going to be there every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, like, and there's going to be a replay, but like, I've got to get those replays done. If I'm going to do the replay, I've got to do it within 2 weeks or it's going to be gone. Like, so there's some flexibility and there's that kind of built-in accountability and encouragement. The social aspect of the group, if you like that. I find as a highly sensitive person that being online with a group gives me just enough of a buffer. I can be in my own home. I feel comfortable. I feel cozy. And I can just have that little bit of social interaction that actually helps me regulate and show up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. So paying for it or, making a commitment to others. Like, obviously, if I'm getting paid, I have to show up. um, Getting really interested and really curious, like almost like it's my special interest.
Mm.
So I will go down a rabbit hole and then I will want to try something out in my body.
Yeah.
Doing little tiny things, like when I notice that I'm in that like forward head position because I've been on my computer for a super long time, I might just go and lean against the wall and press my head back against the wall and let that be enough. Like little tiny things are enough a lot of the time.
Yeah, yeah. So instead of being like, I'm going to do a yoga and like having like a prize at the end for like doing the thing, it's more of, okay, how can we just incorporate movement and gentle movement into our days? Like you said, like leaning back against that wall or even that one client like lifting each finger. Like that sounds powerful, honestly. That sounds amazing.
It helps me fall asleep when nothing else helps. Honestly, you can try it. And you don't have to be lying on your belly to do it. Um, so actually, I'm all for giving yourself a cookie. I really am. Like, definitely reward yourself. And if Shavasana, the relaxation at the end, is not rewarding, then literally give yourself some chocolate. Because our
Yeah.
brains, that's how they work. That's how everyone's brains work, but especially neurodivergent brains.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I know you mentioned your membership. Tell us more about that. What is that? What do you do? Tell us about the membership.
So it's called the Compassion Club, and a lot of people who are neurodivergent resonate with that, especially if they've been on kind of like a healing journey for a long time. They're very compassionate. people, especially highly sensitive people, very empathetic. Often it comes from a place of trauma, childhood trauma, complex trauma of like being the one who was kind of dumped all the responsibility on as a kid. I'm not naming any names, of course, like not speaking too personally, but there can be histories of trauma. So my approach is trauma informed. But it's called the Compassion Club. It is for highly sensitive people, and like I said, I offer that gentle consistency of Mondays. We kind of do some self-reflection and decide how to plan our week, and we do some meditation. I ask for feedback. So I ask people, how are you feeling and what do you need? And for some people, even that is so powerful. Just asking ourselves those two questions and doing some introspection. And then based on that, I create the meditation so that it is kind of in the context of what people need. So it's created out of the members telling me what their needs are. Wednesdays we do a flow. It's a little more, that's why I'm kind of sweaty right now, because we're recording on Wednesday, and we do a little more of like I was describing to you, like those sun salutations, more kind of a fluid movement with breath. And then Saturday is a longer practice. And it's not every single week that we do every single one of those. So it's 9 practices a month, and there's a theme. Members also help me to create the theme, and it's usually something to do with the needs of the group. Although right now we're working with like energy of spring, because it's spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. So
I love that. Yes. Okay. Very cool. So I think the last thing that I want to touch on and cover is the bundle that you're a part of that is coming up here soon. So real quick, let me just talk about that. So it is the Not a Broken Neurotypical Bundle. And it's basically a bundle of resources from a whole bunch of different contributors. You are one of them, of course, who are contributing something they usually charge money for. And you guys, the viewers, can get it for free for 1 week from May 20th to May 26th. So would you like to tell us a little bit about your contribution and what you put in the bundle for us?
yeah, I'm very excited about this. It's called Polyvagal Pranayama and Yoga. So the polyvagal theory is a theory about the nervous system, which might, I would love to talk more about it, but I know we have limited time.
Well, and I actually just made a whole video about polyvagal theory through the neurodivergent lens. So that'll
Oh,
be in a
that's great.
card up here somewhere. So go check that out if you're not comfortable or familiar with polyvagal theory.
I have been, it's another of my special interests, and I've been down a rabbit hole for like probably almost 10 years about
Mhm.
polyvagal theory, and learning how to incorporate that not just into my parenting, but also into my yoga practice and teaching. So this is kind of the culmination of those two special interests, or like nexuses of nerdiness that I created. And it's based in all of that. It's trauma informed. It is 6 full yoga classes with a introduction that's really very basic, simple, like I said, like 30 seconds to 1 minute things you can do depending on which of the states of the nervous system you are in, and if that really meets the context. So you wouldn't, for example, in this introduction, which is called oh gosh, I can't remember right now what it's called, but the
No, it's
introduction
okay.
part of it. So for example, if you were feeling, like you said, like really anxious, we were talking about at the beginning, and like in that flight state, then if I told you to smile with your eyes, you would probably want to punch me across the room, or run away from me, because that is so annoying. But if you were in a state of like rest and digest, or tend and befriend, then if I told you to smile with your eyes, that might feel really natural to you, and it might help you deepen into that. And then you could bring in some gratitude, so you could kind of suck up the most benefits of feeling that tend and befriend that more connected state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it sounds like the it sounds like what you contributed to the bundle is amazing. I mean, six
Yeah,
yoga
I'm really excited about
classes is
it.
so
Normally
cool.
$65, which is already a really great deal. And
Mhm.
because I just want to get this out to people. And what I want is for people to practice, to go and do it, not just get it and put it in their like file of things they got, but actually turn it on and try it and practice it. And then tell me, connect with me and tell me, like, oh, this was really weird and I didn't get it, or this was really helpful. And, you know,
Yeah,
I'd like more of
speaking
this
of
or less of
that,
that. Yeah.
yeah, so where can people connect with you? Like, where are you on social media, online? Like,
Mhm.
where can people connect with you?
I'm at Healthy Happy Yoga.
I love that. That's the website, the Instagram, everything.
That's it, Instagram and website. Yeah. And then it's Kate Lynch Yoga on Facebook, but mainly I'm on, yeah, Instagram. I also have a Substack for parents, but that's a totally different story. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for being my very first YouTube interview. Very
Oh, cool.
exciting.
Thanks,
And
Megan.
thank you for contributing to the bundle. Yeah, it's definitely worth more than $65 and y'all can get it for free here coming up soon. So, yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Anything else you wanted to leave us with when it comes to yoga, nervous system regulation, or neurodivergence?
Well, I really just appreciate you. I've been following you for quite some time now, almost a year, and what you offer to the world is so important. And I always feel like less alone. And I really appreciate you offering this bundle because I'm excited to be part of it. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thank you, viewers, and we will see you next time.